We're only any good when we're one, honestly. And our rehearsals now, which we've never rehearsed, we're terrible rehearsers, but we rehearse now to focus on the oneness, rhythm, not like part of the song and this you do that. Now, sure, we do a little bit of that, but it's about who are we following and how do we completely lock in? Because and the word that we use is intention. Just remember, all we have to do, and if we're off, all you have to do is have the intention to come back. If someone signals you to come back, or I'm noticing it's off, we come back, and as soon as the intention is there, we're back, you know? And that oneness musically is unbeatable. That is what makes great music, and especially great bands, is oneness. And then the show is over, and you know, you have lobby call. You may be hungover. You have your sunglasses on. You're dragging 8 pieces of luggage, and you had a inorganic breakfast, and you see everybody on the street, and you say hey, and you get in the car, and you know that you all know your brothers, and you all know that you'll be feeling that again. But for the time being, it is sort of more of a survivalistic, hey, how you doing, gruff, back to being sort of men among men, and the old dynamic sort of settles back in for a bit. You know, I would like to think that I'm friends with everybody in the world, you know, and everyone I meet, and I've challenged my audiences to if they see me on the street, to come up and give me a hug, and if I act weird, to say fuck that dude, you know,
Slap you.
yeah, say slap me, and then let everyone know that I'm full of shit, you know, because I want that challenge. Yeah, I want to feel have the challenge to have to open my heart at any moment, and the ideal being, or the idea being, that in the end, the intervals between those jumps get so short that it suddenly becomes a coherent strand of openness, because I'm challenging myself that often. Kind of like a movie, you know, it's each frame, but each frame is a jump. You know, one of the paradigms that I've been, you know, that I've had to break down with some of the band, that has had resistance to it, is just the idea of completely freestyling our set list, our songs, the instrumentation of our songs, the arrangement of our songs, sometimes the lyrics of our songs. And finally, you know, and they've pushed back enough that, in a good way, that I was sort of forced to come up with hand signals, so that, you know, we had a compromise. It was like, okay, yes, we should get better at this. If we really want to be children, we should be very, very good children. And so we've come up with hand signals and things, and we're getting much, much better at it. And now it's starting to become something that we never discuss what the first song would be. When we huddle up, we meditate, and we go on stage, and we don't even talk about it. It's interesting because there's intention and then there's magic, and I think they're related, because we intended on something, and then they showed up. And I've walked out on stage before and been in a shit mood. It happened, in particular, my memory is one time when I really walked out and things were wrong for me, and the audience was so present and so tuned in, and so tuned into the intention, that they completely blew off every crumb of sort of negative feeling I was experiencing. And I contemplated later that night, like, if I didn't bring it just now, and I didn't set the tone, because I didn't, how did they know? How did they know to just smile and have fun and be and cheer us on and try and lift us up without doing that sort of like, let's see what they got, which is all I ever experienced with my first band. How did they know? And so it must have been transmitted through the, you know, through the sort of the material goods. Being that we had put in about 6-7 years of live performing and trying to zone in and be one and work together and become good and good and good. The band was starting to reach its 10,000 hours. And suddenly a new objective or intention was revealing itself to me, which was to be great at music, not just a social experiment and not just unprofessionalized professionalism, but actually unprofessionalized professionalism in the greatest way that anyone has ever done it, to actually try for the pie in the sky, musically speaking, and really go for it, especially live. And so that you know, on top of living in New Orleans now, the birthplace of jazz and blues and watching documentaries on jazz and sort of imbibing myself with the realities of bands and jazz and band leaders throughout time, and how rigorous they were at trying to be the very best that they could be. What we're going to bring to this band is the very best that we can possibly bring, at least for this album, and experiment with really trying to become great at our craft. And that was a really exhilarating sort of shift, because what it has demanded of us is more. Before, there was sort of eggshells on the floor about, you know, if I'm a band leader and I'm sort of trying to orchestrate a song, what can I say? You know, how can I say this? How can I sort of make everything go here without explicitly saying, everybody, let's go here? Because I don't want to hurt egos and this kind of thing. But after this shift, I really feel like everybody feels much more free to say to one another and to me, and for me to have to say to them, without any sort of preceding niceties. That seems blah, blah, blah. Why don't we do this instead? Better. And it is the most liberating thing to be able to just jump right into it and cut right to the chase.